For some, the basketball court is considered hallowed ground. It's a place where dreams begin, legends are born, and mere milliseconds can determine heartbreak or triumph. For 3 decades, Chattanooga's John Prater has been creating spaces for aspiration to blossom.
We've built a very special place. Our facility is set up to where we've got 350,000 square feet, and we right now house probably 50 basketball courts. It is by far the largest in the world. We house the floors for the Southeastern Conference, the ACC, CBS Classic, WNBA, and other conferences. We can do 9 courts at a time. 80 floors a year is what we will produce. It's evident every day of our contribution to the sport. You can turn on the TV almost every night and see your workmanship, and it's exciting.
All right, so this is the G League team for the Boston Celtics. It's the main Celtics. It's a new floor that we are providing to the franchise and will be delivered in a couple of weeks.
We get designs, and from the NBA, from the NCAA, from others, and they say, can you do this? And we say, absolutely. And then we hang up the phone and figure out how we're going to do it.
The journey to creating a basketball floor begins with a very specific type of wood.
99% of all basketball courts in America come from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and northern Wisconsin. It's northern hard maple.
Coming from forests that have been managed for well over a century, the northern hard maple produces a very light wood whose closed grain prevents splintering.
And if you think of a maple tree in the south, you got these big branches branched out, you got leaves everywhere in the fall, they're orange and red. Not the maple trees in a managed forest. They look like telephone poles.
The trees are precisely cut and processed and then shipped to Praters Flooring.
When it comes to us, it is laid out, racked out, it's nailed up. Once it's nailed up, then you come in with a sander, sand it all the way down smooth, 2 coats of seal, paint or pigment, whatever lines you want, and then put finish over the top.
This particular court, Western Carolina, we're in the process of making board repairs, fixing hardware. It's been assembled, and now we will sand it all the way down to bare wood, and we'll create the NBA in-season tournament floor out of this particular court. The whole process will take us about 3 weeks.
When I graduated from high school in 1979 in Chattanooga, there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity here. Walter Cronkite called it the dirtiest city in America.
After graduating from the University of Tennessee in 1984, Prater found work in Dallas, Texas.
I was selling finishes, concrete finishes, wood finishes, and met some guys in Texas that did basketball courts, and it intrigued me.
Living in a city as large as Dallas, John yearned for that small-town life and convinced his wife to move back home.
Take it and cut this bottom lip of it off right here.
When he returned, he found a muse from an unlikely place, the Tennessee Aquarium.
It brought on innovation and entrepreneurship, a sense of entrepreneurship. And being in Chattanooga at that time, helped me be an entrepreneur, helped me be somebody that was trying to think outside of the box and do things that are different.
This newfound inspiration gave birth to Praters Flooring.
So this is our Raiders of the Lost Ark room. The Ark of the Covenant is buried in here somewhere. This part of our facility houses basketball courts that are either queued to be worked on or have been finished and are ready to be delivered to the customer.
When we would sand down a gym floor, we had a blank canvas. And I was the first person to go to the schools and say, what kind of message do you want to get to your community? What type of branding do you want to show with your community when they come into the schools? Well, I was saying that. I really didn't even know how we would manage to pull it off.
To remedy this, John took it upon himself to learn graphic design.
Early on, I realized that there was no branding. This was the early 90s. There was no branding on basketball courts. And I had to set myself apart from other people in the business. And the way to do that, in my mind, was through our graphic design capabilities and showing coaches and schools a better way.
Prater's clientele list grew and his business evolved, eventually providing floors to some of the largest arenas in our area.
Thompson Bowling Arena, they can have a basketball game one night, a concert the next, and these floors are made to where they can be taken apart, disassembled and assembled very quickly.
My name is Karina Salazar, and I'm a senior graphic designer at Praters Flooring. We have 4 graphic designers. We have our graphic design manager, or the design department manager, and me. You have to think very specific. You have to be very detail oriented. When it comes to measurements, it comes down to 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch. Everything has to be measured very precisely. It's exciting to see the starting point and then the end result. So I would say the creative journey of a floor. We work with Lakers, Golden State Warriors, probably your favorite NBA team, and it's amazing to see all our work on TV, to think that everyone working here, every single person has touched that decal, that stencil. It goes through so many hands, and it's truly team effort. See that combined coming together on screen. It's lovely.
We provided courts for Space Jam 2, Winning Time, Glory Road, Abbott Elementary, West Side Story for Steven Spielberg. Just amazing opportunities that we have to be able to promote basketball, along with Madison Square Gardens and the United Centers and Barclay, and being able to go to Tokyo for the Olympics. It was our 3rd Olympics. We did a stained glass hawk for the Atlanta Hawks for MLK, which I thought, and it's now hanging in the concourse at State Farm Arena, and it's one of my favorites. It wasn't crazy, but that center logo was superb, and it was eye-catching, and that's one of my favorites.
From the NBA to Disney to some customers he can't even name publicly.
You have to stop.
John Prater and those at Praters Flooring continue to pride themselves on the work they do right here in East Tennessee.
Whether it's a high-level program or whether it's a middle school, there is pride associated with it, there's expectations associated with it, and they're spending money on a renovation. It's personal, and so you want to go into every project to create a showplace. I want the excitement to continue. It's exciting for me every day. I've been doing it for 30-something years now. People ask me, don't you get bored with this stuff? And I'm like, no. Who gets the chance to put a court on an aircraft carrier? I have pride in this whole area, born and raised here, but I've seen what this community has done over the last 30 years, and it further inspires me.